Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Room Number 9. So last time I left you off pretty much right before they decided who was going to do the punishment game. That's not what this is called. It's not a punishment game, but the experiment. Whether we're going to do choice 1 or choice 2, whether we're going to abuse Seiji sexually or draw Daichi's blood. Also, something I wanted to point out. You may have noticed in the description I did not post a link to where you can buy the game, which I always do for every game on my channel that I play. I didn't do that this time because the site that I bought this from, mangagamer.com, if you want to go there, the site that I bought it from just has very objectionable content YouTube-wise, right on the page that I would have linked you to, and I don't feel comfortable linking directly to that kind of content from YouTube, because that's just a good way to get my channel deleted.
採血ってしたことある？
俺は医学部じゃない。
I literally thought he was a med student. Seriously, what is he?
だよね。
The two of us bantered as a link titled Instructions for Drawing Blood appeared. The instructions were a lot more detailed than I expected. I guess the rules did say that they provide instructions and tools to the best of their abilities. What are the instructions? What are the instructions and tools if we were to choose choice B and touch Seiji? I want to know. The instructions included a note saying that a healthy adult man shouldn't be affected by losing 600 milliliters of blood. I guess they only take 400 during donations to be safe. We had no internet access, so it wasn't like we could check if it was accurate, but just having any information at all was a little reassuring. I got the feeling that Seiji's expression had softened too. They'd even included a video with a detailed explanation of the procedure. Seiji nodded as he watched intently.
できる。
Ooh. Of course he could. I always knew I was safe in Seiji's hands. A familiar electric beep sounded and the exchange chamber unlocked. I left Seiji as he watched the instructional video again and retrieved the tools. Honey, no. You're getting on that bed, Seiji, and your pants, they're off. All the things we need for drawing blood were sitting right where I'd set our trays of food. The new tray was made of silvery metal. It would have looked at home in a hospital.
持ってきた。
Seiji looked up and nodded.
もう少し待ってくれ。失敗したくない。
No, where's my choice to do the other thing? Seriously, it has to give me a choice.
おう。
If it doesn't give me a choice, then that's just nightmarish. For the next 10 minutes or so, Seiji went over the instructions over and over. His lips moved faintly as he repeated the procedure to himself.
針は使い捨て。これは消毒。駆血体。肘枕の上に腕を伸ばさせて、関節の10センチほど上を縛る。
He mimed each action as the video played.
セイジ、ほどほどで大丈夫だから、俺は。
He was deep in concentration. I wasn't sure he could hear me. It was a little annoying, honestly, but there wasn't anyone I would have trusted more. It did occur to me that we didn't have any of the machinery used in blood donations. There was a long tube on the tray, though. Maybe it worked kinda like in TV in reverse. It even had a device partway along the tube to control the flow. The kind of thing that could be fiddled with to speed up or slow an IV drip. Finally, Seiji set the tablet down, grabbed an arm pillow, and placed it on the bed, patting it to beckon me over.
右を見せてくれ。
When
腕の
is...
内側を俺に向けて。
Okay, be quiet when I'm talking. When is my choice? Because I'm not drawing blood. I lay down on the bed and held out my arm as instructed.
左は
I showed it to him and he gently ran his fingers over the inside of my elbow.
左の方が血管が出てるな。そっちにしよう。
Left arm, huh? I guess it's easier to see the veins on that one. Why? Kind of a weird thing to think about, though. Which arm has more prominent veins? Seiji pulled a chair up to the side of the bed, set the tray on the nightstand, and even repositioned the trash can nearby before vanishing into the bathroom. He better get cold feet. I immediately heard the sound of running water. It seemed to go on for ages. He was spending a long time washing his hands. Good. The wait made me anxious and nervous. Seiji must have been even more nervous, though. I mean, he wasn't a doctor or a nurse, but he had to stick a needle in someone's arm. If I'm, you know, doing this to Seiji, I ain't washing my hands. My heart ached and my stomach was squirming so much. I thought I might puke up all the steak I just ate. It's just a little blood. Seiji returned from the bathroom and I was hit with a strange mixture of relief and tension. He was white as a sheet. He took a seat on the chair and began to carefully cut lengths of tape. Every inch in the consummate professional? I don't know what that means. Seiji looked so intelligent and calm as he concentrated intently on the task at hand. His face could have almost been a still from a movie. He disinfected his thoroughly washed hands and put on a pair of gloves.
始めるぞ。
おう。
Wow. Where was my choice? I swear to God, if you have to, like, play through this game twice to get the good choices, and by that I mean, you know, touching Seiji, ooh, I'll be mad. If we're just gonna keep harming Daichi the whole route. He wrapped the rubber cord tightly around my arm and used a clip on the end to fasten it onto the tighter settings. It was interesting how my arm felt like it was swelling up a bit, as if I could feel the blood backing up in my veins.
きつくないか?
It was tight, but not tight enough to complain about. I could immediately see my veins expanding through my skin, although I could tell without even looking. Good job, veins. Maybe we can get through this without causing Seiji too much trouble. Man, this is weird. This isn't sexy, this is just weird. Seiji wiped the inside of my arm with a clear antiseptic solution. He was pressing pretty firmly and I could smell the alcohol wafting off my skin. Then he carefully sterilized the area just above my vein with iodine.
そんなちまちま拭かなくてもいいんじゃね?
No, I think he does.
お前の体だから真面目にやってるんだ。
He is so in love with you. Why can't we just admit that to each other?
そうだな。ありがとう。
He had such a serious look in his eyes. Seiji was always a pretty sober guy, but I'd almost never seen him like this. It wasn't really the time to be cracking jokes. Ooh, the music's getting kind of creepier. He tossed the antiseptic pad into the trash and picked up a large implement.
それいっぱいにすんのか。
The sight of it turned my stomach a bit. There was a clear bag on the end of the tube. It was still empty and massive.
600だからな。
Actually, that's bigger than half a liter bottle. Scary. On the other end of the tube was a needle. It had a protective plastic cap over the top of it. Seiji carefully removed the plastic cap and looked at me square in the eye.
プロじゃないからな。
You think? His words were emphatic. Why did I say empathetic? His words were emphatic and terse.
わかった。
It's not like he was going to cut my arm off or anything. If this would get us one step closer to getting out of here, I could deal with it. But I am really nervous. I looked away. I could feel him pull the skin of my upper arm taut just above my elbow. Then I felt a sharp pain. I couldn't hold back a grimace.
あ、
He sounded a little panicked.
悪い。血が出た。
Isn't that what it does?
当たり前だろ。
I guess even Seiji can get freaked out sometimes. I could feel the needle just barely moving. It was a little unsettling. Seiji let out a sigh of relief.
大丈夫だと思う。
Watch him put like an air bubble in our veins and we just have a heart attack. I timidly looked over my arm. There was a red bead of blood right where the needle was entering my arm, but that was it. The tube attached to the bag was bright red. What, that it? Is that all we had to do? Is it over?
おお、すげえ。マジでできたんだ。
いい血管してたから助かった。
That's a weird compliment. But you do simp for him. They both simp for each other. I was relieved to hear that most of the tension had left his voice. Happy even.
肉体労働系バイトもしてっからな。
あまり動くなよ。倒れることもあるらしい。
動かねえし、針刺さってっから動きたくねえよ。
Oh my god, someone is smoking outside and now I can just... Ugh, it's wafting in my nostrils. Disgusting. Seiji secured the tube to my arm with tape close to the needle. I was a bit more at ease after he did that.
痛かっただろ。
別に注射くらい
Yeah, exactly. It barely qualified as pain, really. And besides, Seiji's the one who did it, so it's really not that big of a deal. I guess if Seiji does it, if Seiji causes you harm, it's not a big deal. Not gay. Plus, it was getting us 10 points. Oh yeah, we're gonna beat those other rooms. It's a competition now. Watch out, room number 4. We're coming for you. This isn't about going home anymore. This is about becoming number 1. I was awed by the amount of blood pouring out of me as I gazed at the reddish-brown fluid in the tube. There was a bit of throbbing pain, but nothing to freak out about. It didn't really feel any different from giving blood. Seiji fiddled with the doodad in the middle of the tube, and the drips of blood started to slow.
お前さ、医者になりゃよかったんだよ。
なんだよ急に。
すげえ様になってるから。あと
メガネだからなんて言い出さないだろうな。
それもある。
I was desperate to come up with something to talk about. My blood was flowing slowly out of my body, and it was going to take a while to fill up that big bag. I couldn't just get the conversation flowing, and the situation wasn't exactly flowing, get it? It's just like his blood is flowing into the bag, and the situation wasn't exactly ideal for small talk in the first place. My throat was dry, but I tried again anyway.
さ、こんなとこで聞くことじゃないかもしんないけどさ。なんで別れたの
Oh my god. His lips tightened. Maybe that was too direct. This isn't the time or place. But hey, you're going to be spending 10 days in this room at least together. Might as well get that out of the way and just start getting intimate with each other. After a moment's hesitation, Seiji opened his mouth.
俺にもよくわからない。
聖司がわかんないわけないだろ。
Could you not get it up in the bedroom? Me no. I really didn't believe he couldn't have known. I mean, Seiji knew everything. But he just cast his eyes down at his feet, looking kind of lost.
本当に急に別れようって言われた。
マジ
試験で忙しくてあまり会えなかったし、そのせいかもな。
Yeah, being busy is a common reason for a breakup.
俺はリズムで考える方だから、そこが嫌われたのかもしれない。
かもってことはさ、理由言ってくんなかったの
聞いてみたけど、何も。
Man, have I been there. Just sounds... If this is constantly happening to you, it just sounds like you're doing something wrong.
女の子ってさ、別れるって言った時はここを直してくれたらやり直すじゃなくて、もう結論出てんだよな。
そうみたいだな。
And if you ask for a reason, it'll just make you more depressed, knowing you never knew her in the first place. The only one who ever gave me a reason was this one girlfriend I had ages ago, and she seemed mostly mad at me for even asking. She rattled off all the things that were stressing her out up until then, and ended it by saying she wished I could have gotten a clue and figured it out on my own.
もっと早く言ってくれなきゃわからないのにな、男には。
Yeah, that's why men should just stay with men, and women with women too, you know. Lesbians are, we stand.
すげえわかるそれ。デートの最中でもちょっとずつ言えばいいのに。
一緒にいるときは笑ってるから大丈夫かと思ってた。 本当はいろいろ考えてるんだろうな。
難しいよな。
I guess there's stuff even Seiji doesn't understand. I know this sounds crazy, but the thought made me kind of sad.
試験が終わるまで気を使って待っててくれたんだと思う。終わってすぐ連絡したらもうやめたいって言われた。
Well, at least she waited until you finished exams, so you didn't, like, go into the exam thinking I'm a loser. Ouch, wait, why are we having such a heart-to-heart right now? Because you started it! We never get like this when we're out drinking together, and what a shallow friendship you have. This is why you haven't realized Seiji's feelings.
やめよう。何してんだろうな、こんな時に。
だな。
Oh my lord. Simpin'! He's a simp! Seiji even looks handsome when he's forcing a smile. It's so not fair. Are we even the same species? I mean, some people think gays are a different species, so... But you're both gay, so you're the same species, so the answer is no. He filled the kettle and turned it on.
そういえばさ、別れたとか俺に言わなかったろ。気使ったの？
Seiji's exams had ended quite a while before mine did. We've been in contact through the period, so he would have had ample opportunity to say something.
まあ一応。
水臭いな。
Seiji went quiet for a moment. I could hear the bubbling of water in the kettle.
かもしれない。だから振られる。
でも、すげえいいやつだと思う。
どうだろうな。
The whole thing sucked, both for Seiji and his exes. Now Daichi just needs to say, if I was a girl, I'd totally go out with you. He'll say it eventually, I'm sure. Why would anyone ever dump a guy as good as him? He's got more than enough good qualities to work on any minor annoyances rather than give up on him completely, if you ask me. Maybe she just wasn't the kind of girl who could make calculated decisions like that when it came to relationships. What kind of shade are you throwing out? What? That's kind of shady. Like, she's not able to make calculated decisions? You don't think she thought about this before she broke up with him? Seiji's probably the same way, honestly. He was always attracted to girls with a lot of integrity like that. But it never worked out. Seiji should be happy. While I was lost in thought, I noticed a conflicted smile cross Seiji's face as he hung his head.
あんまいい話題じゃなかったな。悪い。
別にいい。
He turned on the TV. The banal show drowned out the awkward atmosphere. So is the bag full of blood yet? I think it should be by now. Someone unhook that thing. So it's like at a liter already. Like get the tube off. I was glad we went with regular TV instead of porno. Yeah. What, did he die? Did we forget to stop the blood drip?
そろそろ良さそうだな。抜くぞ。
Finally. I was worrying for him. He unclipped the tourniquet and I could feel it as the pressure released in my veins. The blood that was stopped in my arm rushed back to my heart all at once. Seiji coolly held the needle in place with his thumb as he removed the tape holding the tube in place. It tugged at my arm hair a little. Then he quickly pulled the needle out. I wasn't sure how the bag was held closed with that clip, maybe. I read that kind of strangely. Seiji capped the needle again and pressed a cotton pad against my arm. Both of us let out deep sighs of relief.
寒くないか？めまいは？
平気。
I was actually surprised at how fine I felt. It wasn't really any different from the time I donated 400 milliliters of blood out of curiosity. Curiosity? Who does that? I thought about selling my blood back then. I don't think places still do that. But if I'd done it once, it would become a pretty regular thing, and I probably wouldn't have had 600 milliliters to spare here. Dang. Why don't you go try selling your semen too?
そうか。
And make some bank. Sell all your fluids. The tension finally broke as Seiji started to clean up. I tried to get up and help, but he stopped me. working briskly without saying a word.
それさ、取っといたら。
俺もそう思ってた。
ガーゼとかテープとか消毒も何かと便利だよな。あとそのゴムの紐いらねえかな。
How do you know that? What if one of you loses an arm? An insidious thought crossed my mind as the words left my mouth. We wouldn't need the tourniquet again, right? Well, I'm sure if you did, they'd give you another. Right? I mean, I'd like to believe we won't need it, but I guess we could use it if something happens. Aside from that, all that was left was the used tubing and the bag of blood and stuff. Seiji placed everything on the tray and headed into the exchange chamber as I looked on. Somehow he looked even more dependable than usual. I mean, it's not like he ever really didn't, but in that moment, he seemed especially so. I was thankful that Seiji was such a smart and tough person.
ほら、電解質。
He handed me a teacup full of warm sports drink. Warm? Yeah, let me just give you a cup of warm Gatorade. You want some warm Gatorade? Not room temperature, warm. Like I warmed it up for you.
お茶じゃダメなんだ。
Kind of disgusting.
カフェインには利尿作用がある。水分が減る。
でもまだ取っといた方がよくね。
I mean, who knows what could happen later?
半分は残しておくし、他にもあるし、いざとなったらポイントで請求しよう。
I clutched the cup with both hands. I held it in my mouth as it cooled, and then drank it down. What is it cooled? I don't understand. So it wasn't just warm, it was hot. Too hot for you to drink it immediately? A sports drink? I don't get it. What kind of sports drink? The warmth washed over my stomach. Seems disgusting. I heard a ka-chink of the exchange chamber unlocking while I drank, and I could just barely tell there was someone in there. I couldn't help but wonder what it must feel like to be the guy collecting my bag of blood. Oh, what would it have felt like to be the guy collecting Seiji's babies? Seriously. So, that's a dream job right there. In no time at all, I heard the door close and lock again.
晩飯が肉でよかったな。鉄分を補充できる。
前に400献血したことあるけどさ、しばらくは小便するとき座ってしなきゃいけないのな。倒れたら危ねえから。
It wasn't until I'd actually said it that I realized that I might have made it sound like I was worried about my condition.
心配すんなよ。本当に具合悪くねえからな。
Really, I had my mom to thank for giving me such a robust constitution. The one that left you? And of course, all the kind people who kept me fed too. Still upset that, we didn't get the choice there. I'm figuring this might be the kind of game where you have to play it twice to, like, do the choices that you want to do. Like, I'm sure they'll give us choices at least a little bit later on, but right now it doesn't seem like it. So we might have to come back on a second playthrough. It sounded like we'd been sent a message. How many minutes had it been? 5, maybe? Painfully curious, I sat up to get a look at the tablet screen. Requirements fulfilled. Task completed.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you're going down, other teams, other rooms. That other room with the husband, wife, and son, or daughter, or whatever, you're going down too. You guys are dying here. I did a fist pump without really thinking, disturbing the gauze on my arm and making the wound ache again. You have been granted meals for tomorrow. In addition, 10 points have been added to your total. To you total? Your... If you would like to use points, see... The automated looking message put me at ease. The first of our 10 days was finally over. Ooh, girl. You know it's going to take more than 10 days. Sorry, Seiji, talked over you, but you know it's going to take more than 10 days.
明日も全力で貯めていきましょう。
There was a tinge of optimism in both our voices. It'll be fine. We can do this.
具合はどうだ？
大丈夫じゃねえかな。
I did feel a little sluggish, but that might have been because I expected to feel like that after losing a lot of blood.
ちょっと眠いかも。
I like how Seiji has some armpit hair. It's kind of nice. Although, Oh yeah, also, this game definitely was made by the people who made No Thank You. And they also had body hair in that game, so that's kind of nice, although I couldn't get through No Thank You. Maybe I'll try it again after I finish this game. I mean, I bought it for $40 and just played it once. I couldn't hold back a yawn. We'd been knocked out with drugs earlier in the afternoon, so I guess the blood loss made me tired after all.
問題なさそうならもう寝よう。
They better be sleeping in the bed together. Seiji better be holding Daichi as he sleeps. Just to make sure, you know, he's okay, because he gave so much blood, you know? I wasn't exactly feeling bad or anything, but I was tired enough that I couldn't really manage a more articulate response. I couldn't believe it was really only 10. A little early for bed unless you're in elementary school. But we'd both already bathed and eaten dinner. We had no internet, so it wasn't like there was any social media to dick around on. Sleep really was the only option. We can dick around right here, God. Plus, I mean, the main person I'd want to chat with when I was bored was sleeping right next to me. Cute. I decided I might as well close my eyes. They better be facing each other when they sleep. Actually, I wonder what they're going to do with my blood. Maybe just throw it out. Well, I hope they don't do something evil with it. What kind of evil thing are you going to do with blood? Maybe they'll use it for their blood play. I don't know. That's what the researchers are doing up there with Seiji's blood. I mean, no, not Seiji, Daichi.
モニターと電気消すぞ。
All of the lights went out. Light like gentle moonlight spilled through the windows, which were probably still displaying the Okinawan landscape. Man, screw those guys who did this to us. No, none of that matters right now. I just need to sleep. But I couldn't. There was just something about knowing another person was lying so close to me that made me feel tense. Even if I tried to confine myself to the very edge of the bed, I could still feel his warmth under the blanket we were sharing. It was a strange feeling, a comforting feeling, you mean? It'd be one thing if it was a girl, that'd be disgusting, but it was my best friend, so it was kinda hot, next to me in bed. But it was a man, Seiji no less. We'd known each other for ages, but unsurprisingly, we'd never shared a bed like this before. Why? Plus, my anxiety over our current circumstances probably wasn't helping either. Or maybe my body just thought it was time to be active because I was passed out from morning to mid-afternoon. This sucks. I'm mostly surprised he hasn't fallen asleep yet from all that blood. Seiji sure didn't sound like he was sleeping. He was definitely awake, but he was the type to refrain from tossing and turning. I fiddled with my phone by my head. It was past midnight already. If they were following their own rules to the letter, we should have had a new set of tasks by now, but I wasn't in the mood to check. Come on, let's go check. But this one better be hot, and I better get a choice. I tossed and turned. I wasn't remotely sleepy. At some point, I'd started staring up at the ceiling. My eyes were wide open, staring vacantly at the dark above me. I noticed that Seiji was moving too. We were in the same bed, so it wasn't like we could hide it from each other. I could even tell he was laying on his back. Okay, what do you mean you could even tell he was laying on his back? Like, that's so crazy you could tell that. You're right next to him.
起きてる
I asked in a hushed tone. It took him a moment to respond, but it didn't sound like he'd just woken up. More like he wasn't sure whether to respond or not. I was the one who addressed him, but I didn't really have anything in particular I wanted to talk about. I didn't really have anything I could talk about in the first place. Seiji had been through all the same things I had since he got here, so there wasn't really any need to talk about it. But I did have something I wanted to say. Something I wanted to say until I was blue in the face.
ごめんな
Hmm? He didn't reply right away. Is this for... because you bought the tickets again? He must have just been staring up at the ceiling like I'd been.
Huh.
He just quietly accepted my apology. No matter how many times I could have told him I'm sorry or thank you, it wouldn't have been enough. Or no thank you. But Seiji understood. That was enough to make me feel both relieved and a little like I wanted to cry. That moment of respite filled my chest, and before I knew it, I was overtaken by sleep. I couldn't quite remember exactly when I lost consciousness. Uh-oh, second day, 12 points. Oh, it's at that porn channel. Let's go down to 11. A quiet electronic beeping called me back from the land of sleep. I'd slept really well, even though I was still a little foggy. It was worlds better than fighting my way out of a drug stupor like I had the day before. Seiji sat up and stretched like a cat. He'd taken his glasses off to sleep this time, like he normally would. The beeping must have been coming from the tablet. Good morning, your breakfast has been prepared. I glanced over towards the exchange chamber and noticed that it appeared to be unlocked. I was impressed that they pulled it off while we were sleeping. The light coming from behind the curtains was brighter. The screens must have been displaying a sunny Okinawan morning. It really did feel like morning. But I wish they directed some of the concern towards respecting our human rights. Well, I don't think they care. Like, just let us go home already. While I was still dozing in bed, Seiji immediately got up and opened the curtains.
腹減った。
めちゃめちゃ聞こえた。
I couldn't help but smile.
あったかいうちに食おう。ここ、飯だけは超うまいから。
I dragged myself out of bed into the exchange chamber. Seiji was always so on top of things, I had to make some kind of an effort. The chamber is filled with the scent of Japanese food.
うおー、うまそう。
Rice, grilled fish, miso soup, pickles, spinach with sesame dressing, seaweed, pickled plum. Each dish just screamed Japanese breakfast. Just the thought made my mouth fill with
こ
drool.
んなちゃんとした朝飯食ったことない。
When I was a kid, my breakfast usually consisted of prepackaged stuff like Pop-Tarts. I did get better stuff when I was in the orphanage, but nothing of this caliber. I'd cook for myself once I started living on my own, but usually not much more than boiling some pasta or rice topped with natto or fried rice. Just basic stuff since cooking's a pain in the ass. Or I'd eat cabbage for a week because I was flat broke. Honestly, I really had to hand it to them for the quality and variety on display for breakfast. Well, let's give a hand for our captors that are treating us to some delicious breakfast, you know? They might have been bad dudes, but they sure knew what they were doing. You know? They might be kidnapping scum, but at least they hire 5-star chefs. And on top of that, the portions were extremely generous. They even gave us a heaping container of rice. Our laundry and the teacups had been returned as well, but I figured I didn't need to grab them immediately. After all, we supposedly had 3 hours until the door would lock again. When I got back into the main room, Seiji was sitting in front of the table. His eyelids still looked heavy and drowsy, and he still had a rumpled bedhead. The TV was on a morning news program. Wait, the TV was on and a morning news program was playing. I felt like he had the right idea. Who wanted to start off the day on a bummer note?
セイジ見てくれこの飯。
すごいな。旅館の朝食だ。
Oh, that got his attention. If even Seiji's discerning tastes were reacting like that, then... I quietly took a seat as the smell of food stimulated my appetite.
いただきますせ。めっちゃうまい。
口に入れたまま喋るな。
Yes, sir. One of the vegetable dishes had sea grapes in it. The texture was intriguing when they hit my mouth. And the grilled fish was fantastic. It had been marinated in white miso. I'm pretty sure they're using a mixture of fat and miso pastes like that. Wait, I'm pretty sure using a mixture of fat and miso paste like that was cheating? Excuse you. Well, food critic Daichi here reporting for duty. The sound of the TV accompanying our breakfast made it feel like a real vacation in a real hotel. But still.
どうした？
Seiji paused when I did.
あ、いや、なんか悲しくなったっつうが。
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
こんなうまい飯作れんのに悪者っつうが、その一味なんだよな。なんでこいつらにくっついて飯作ってんのかなって思って。
そうだな。
それとも捕まって悪の秘密結社のために飯作らされてんのかな。
そうかもな。
His replies were just so normal as he munched away at his salad. Seiji really didn't say anything else after that. I assumed he must have been thinking the same thing I was, but didn't dare say it.
ごちそうさまでした。
I offered thanks to the fish and rice and started collecting our dishes. I hoped the meal would replace some of the nutrients I'd lost giving blood. Can we check the new, whatever it's called, punishment game? I picked up our laundry while I was in the exchange chamber. Our items were all mixed together, but they were neatly folded. A new supply of snacks sat next to the fresh teacups. Our captors didn't miss a beat.
おいセイジパンツ戻ってきたぞ
Ooh. I could hear the water running in the bathroom. He must have been washing his face.
置いといてくれ。
はーい
I pulled my stuff out of the pile and set it on my bed. The thought of a total stranger washing my underwear was kind of embarrassing. I guess it's too late to worry about that now, though. I bet they sniffed it. I would have. But I bet even the bad guys are in charge of doing laundry here. Wait, I bet the bad guys in charge of doing laundry here don't want to wash dudes' used underpants, huh? Take that, jerks. You know they got off to that.
てか安住くんのおパンツ
Okay, this heterosexual activity. Wow, they were really cool looking. Actually, they had a brand name written on them.
これお高いやつじゃありませんでしたっけ
What does Daichi wear? Tighty whities? I had long since given up on the idea of buying some from that brand to have for special occasions. Dang, rich kids are too powerful for me. Seiji was in a totally different universe on every level. As far as underwear went, mine were cheap, like $5 cheap. They always wore out pretty fast.
人のパンツ見て何しみじみしてる。
Literally, don't try to hide that you're actually kind of excited that he's looking at your underwear. Seiji came out of the bathroom almost immediately, an irritated look below his damp bangs. Man, why's he gotta be so handsome? Simpin'! Simpin'! Stop simpin'! Attractive people just aren't playing fair. I remembered that I had heard he was scouted by some talent agency in middle school, but he never went for it because it didn't interest him and he wanted to focus on studying. I mean, I get it. He really is just handsome after all. Genuinely, I've said it before, I say it again, Daichi can't go 5 minutes without complimenting Seiji. With those nice broad shoulders, yup, and some decent pecs, and back muscles, that make you wonder if he lifts. And those long legs, it's just not fair. I'll answer your question right there. He don't lift. Seiji don't lift. He don't look like he lifts. He don't. When I slipped into the bathroom after him, I noticed it smelled like smoke. Yeah, God, I forgot he's a smoker. Yuck, Seiji. He must have been smoking under the bathroom vent fan. He really didn't have to do that. I wondered how many cigarettes he brought with him. No, he does need to do that. In fact, he shouldn't be smoking at all. I brushed my teeth and washed my face. There was a shelf above the counter that was full of what looked like women's body lotion and basic skincare products. They were arranged in a row, stylish bottles of vaguely familiar brand names boasting about their all-natural formulas. I picked up one of the brand name bottles and brought it to my nose.
すげえいい匂いさすがブランド物
I was hit with a small wave of nostalgia as I returned the bottle to the shelf. I thought I'd seen the brand in the room of an older woman I dated a long time ago. Cougar. After that, I had nothing left to do but laze around and watch TV. Yet we have something to do! Hello, look at your tablet! It felt just like a boring summer vacation. I really wanted to go to the beach.
なあ情報確認しね
Finally. I tried broaching the subject less directly, figuring it was best if we could make ourselves think of the situation as if it wasn't anything particularly remarkable. Alrighty, let's see. Let's see. Wow. Room number 6 is the one that we're competing with. Oh, you're going down, room number 6. You're going down. Ooh. Going down. Oh, I'm sorry, room number 8. Are you guys better than us? You didn't even want to do the little challenge? You didn't want to do the blood draw or the semen challenge? Sorry. Guess that family's too good for us. Huh? Something's off.
1号室昨日いたよな
Yeah, that's one less competitor.
確か4日目で24ポイントぐらいだった。
I didn't hide my confusion, but Seiji's expression remained steady as the lenses of his glasses glinted coldly. Maybe they already got out. Wait, What were the options for getting out again? Wait. I gulped audibly when it finally dawned on me.
誰か死んだってこと？
Seiji's lips had begun to move, but abruptly stopped. I don't think he actually made a sound.
それ以外中途で脱出する方法がないな。
He finally got the words out, his voice hoarse and weary. The atmosphere in the room grew heavy again. There really was no way out. We were trapped. We either had to get those 100 points or die trying. Well, we didn't come here to make friends, okay? We came here to win. But the optimist in me wouldn't quiet down, and it could all just be empty threats. There could very well be no other people in those rooms to begin with. Although either way, there's no question that we've been imprisoned by literal criminals. Those bastards didn't care if we lived or died. They wouldn't shed a single tear for our sakes.
8番の部屋何にも増えてないな。
It was a room with 3 people in it.
バスに乗るときに見た親子連れならわからないでもない。
A chill came over me. It was much sharper and more profound than the dull aching cold when I had my blood drawn. I just wanted to get out of here as soon as possible, which is why we needed to look at the task, even if the prospect was terrifying. Seiji must have felt the same way as he poked away at the tablet.
ああ、そういうこと。
Okay, wait, so subject A must extract, same thing from subject B as last time. Or number 2, subject B must create an incision in subject A's body of at least 100 millimeters in length and 8 millimeters deep. Ooh, that sounds like it hurts. That seems like a deep wound, isn't it? Isn't that deep? Wait, no, that's not that deep. Well, it's kind of deep. I couldn't keep my voice from cracking. Seiji seemed to have expected as much too, but still gave a sigh of frustration. I guess this meant the difficulty would escalate each time we completed a task. Literally, the sex tasks are so much easier, it's crazy.
別に俺でいいよ、次も。
It's like, just stop being a literal homophobe and just do it, I felt better once I said it out loud. I mean, of course I wasn't sure if Seiji could do it, though. Bruh, like, literally, the sex tasks are so much easier. Like, it's literally stupid not to do it. Like, if I was honestly with my friend who I didn't like, romantically or sexually, I wouldn't care. Just do the sex task. It's so much easier. It's nothing. Like, oh my god. Like, seriously.
Daichi.
Like, how much of a homophobe can you be? Seiji looked at me right in the eye with a calm expression in his face and his eyes gleaming. He seemed a little mad.
これくらいなら命に別状ある傷じゃないし、痛いのもまあ慣れてるし。
お前な。
He stared me down with uncharacteristic menace. I'm so sorry.
知ってるだろ？母ちゃんの彼氏によく殴られてたからさ、ガキの頃。
You're just gonna drop your abuse? I mean, clearly he already knows, but for us, that's kind of sudden to be dropping your abuse right on us like that. And then say that makes it okay for Seiji to physically harm you, even if, it's not like he wants to harm you. That's kind of messed up to say it like that, Daichi.
そんなのなれるなんて言うな。
Yeah, exactly. You really are a gentle soul, Seiji.
あれよりは今のがマシだってこと。 自分で選べるし、時間が経てば忘れるのも分かってるし。
Seiji would be sad for me in the moment, and that was enough sadness for me. Oh, there better just be like, we go straight to task 1 this time without a choice, just like yesterday. I wasn't sure he'd really understood the sentiment if I voiced it, though he wouldn't meet my gaze and seemed like he wanted to say something but was holding back. When he finally looked my way, he was back to his usual self, calm, handsome, and steady as ever.
昨日血を抜いたばかりだろ。
I know, right? You can't keep losing blood.
そうだけど。
これ以上血を流すのはまずいだろ。8ミリって結構深いぞ。
Well, yeah.
それに俺はやりたくない。医者じゃないんだ。
でもさ、それ。
Otherwise, I'm gonna have to make you ejaculate. You know that, right? Are you cool with that? Is what I really would have liked to say, but I just ended gulping at the same time he did. I couldn't exactly say that out loud. I knew it wasn't like he suggested it because he particularly wanted to do it either, and it was a little too effed up to be a joke.
まあ採血でも十分きついよな。
そうだ。
お前
So he deserves
す
a
げえうまく
reward.
やってくれたけどさ、逆で考えたら確かにきつい。
He let out a bitter little huff of laughter, knowing we were on the same page. Just the thought of physically hurting Seiji made my body go cold, and it made it painfully clear to me I never wanted to have to do that, or make him have to do that either. Though I don't want to do the other option either. Oh my god, baby. But I knew that fretting endlessly about how much both options sucked wasn't going to change our situation.
じゃあやる？
Yeah, yaru desu ne. So we decided to go with Seiji's option this time. Was it really the best choice? Hi.
それは
Arimasu yo. There was obvious trepidation in his voice, not typical for Seiji, which made it almost interesting to see. Yeah, we just need to play it cool, treat it like it's no big deal. That'd probably make things easier. Probably.
いや俺はいいよ。やれるっつが多分だけど針刺したり傷つけるよりはマシだと思うし。
It'll probably be awesome. I wasn't exactly excited about the prospect myself, but I couldn't lie to him. It's not like we had any other options anyway, and the both of us knew that.
分かった。夜にしてくれ。
Yee!
うん。夜な。OK。
Yeah, we gotta set the mood. You don't want to jerk off right after breakfast.
やっぱり
Oh, unless you do, you little horn dog. You seem to be thinking about something, but what? I had no idea. I'd never seen Seiji change his mind like that in a conversation, like this in a conversation before.
夜で。
Yeah, best to save it for tonight. It'll be romantic.
夜な。わかった。
We can do it after dinner again. We set the mood. Seiji was always so calm and collected. It's almost interesting to see him in this state. He seemed a little frustrated and pouty as he looked at me. Exasperated, even. Let's get into evening. Eh, Seiji? When the time came, the LCD windows glowed red with twilight. It was strangely irritating to think about how much effort went into something so trivial. Seiji, it is time. It is time to release the babies. And then it was night. The time on the TV was 9 p.m. and we were relaxing after eating dinner, although it was really less relaxing and more bored out of our minds. I have a way we can solve our boredom.
うわあー体なまる。
The day was almost over, but we still had 8 more to go. The food was good at least. We had Chinese today. It had been stir-fried over high heat, and was just as delicious as anything you'd find in Chinatown. But that wasn't enough to give us anything resembling hope. Things were tough to say the least. Seiji was staring at his tablet. Not the awful one we'd been provided with, but the one he brought himself.
あずみくん、何見てんの？
本。電子書籍。
ずるい！俺にも見せろよ！
He glanced up at me and snorted. He looked almost offensively attractive, stripping his fancy... Wait, he looked almost offensively attractive, sipping his fancy coffee as he fiddled with his tablet. Beautiful people, honestly. Dude, literally just get under the covers and start sucking them off. You
ス
know
マ
you
ホに
want
何か入
to.
れてないのか？
メッセンジャーと LINE？
いいアプリがある。著作権の切れた名作が無料で読み放題。
すげえけど今からじゃアプリ入れられないし。
But it really did sound nice. I'd be a teacher soon after all. Expanding the breadth of my knowledge could only be a good thing. Plus, I better know more things than my students. I mean, teachers are basically the first adults that kids develop a relationship with other than their parents. That's the kind of person you have to be an elementary school teacher, and I want to be a good one.
読むか？
He said, settling the stylishly slim tablet on the table and getting it out of his seat. He had a change of underwear in his hand. It was different pair from the ones Wait, it was a different pair from the ones that were returned to us this morning.
風呂入ってくる。課題の申請しといてくれるか。
Yeah, boy. You don't have to wash first, Seiji. I kind of want a little musk. Seriously, just a little musk, you know? That's all it took to get my heart pounding in my throat. It was time for us to undertake our task for the day. You know, I just want a little bit of, manly scent. A comedy variety show on the TV filled the room with laughter. We might have been locked up, but the world around us was moving as normal. I would have never even imagined this sort of thing was real before yesterday. While people are laughing and smiling in one place, something awful is happening somewhere else in the world. It's one of those things that's obvious if you think about it, but you usually don't. Everything from simple accidents to acts of deep-seated cruelty and evil, like sharks circling hungrily in the dead of the night. Awful things are always happening, and nobody knows it. The thought weighed heavily in my mind. We didn't have any way to fight back. I stared down at the tasks displayed on the tablet. Task 1. Subject A extracts seminal fluid from Subject B. Task 2. Subject B wounds Subject A. I selected the first task and hit submit. Selection accepted. Please complete the task. I knew there was a human somewhere behind that robotic response. I could tell there were people here. I could tell from the food that was honestly far too delicious for these circumstances, and the expertly laundered and folded clothes. Were they watching now? Were they watching us through those security cameras, just like we watched the people on TV? I gazed up at the camera installed on the ceiling. Seiji returned from the bathroom accompanied by a cloud of steam. He put his knee up on the edge of the bed next to where I was sitting. He avoided looking at me and left his glasses on.
課題選択しといた。
High five, Seiji, let's do this.
Oh.
The exchange was simple and matter of fact, nothing more. A commercial jingle filled the silence that followed.
どうやる？
Just get on the bed and let Daichi get to work. He'll do what he has to do. A deep furrow appeared on Seiji's brow. I mean, I couldn't exactly blame him or anything, but he looked extremely unhappy. Because he's unhappy because he just didn't want to do it in this sort of situation. He wanted to do it because Daichi wanted to do it with him, but Daichi doesn't want to do it. He just has to do it.
やめる？変える？
Can you even change?
やるよ。っていうかやれよ。
This time he glared at me.
はい。
I smacked my face with my palms. If we shifted options now, Seiji would have to hurt me. I couldn't do that to him, so I guess they can choose, or switch after choosing. But wondered how exactly should I approach it? I mean, obviously I need to use both hands, but like, what position should we be in? Obviously you have to use both hands? That was like a subtle brag for Seiji. Obviously, when I'm dealing with Seiji's massive penis, I have to use both my hands to pleasure him. Obviously. I mean, Daichi just doesn't stop with all this simping. He really doesn't. I love it. I figured looking directly at each other would be pretty hard for both of us, and it might have an adverse effect on Seiji's equipment. Are you kidding? You know that's just gonna get him harder.
どうした？
どうしたらいいかなと思って。
Well, Daichi should also have his pants off, and he should get his booty right on Seiji's manhood. And I think you can figure out the rest. You can really extract some stuff that way. Really milk it. I just came out with it. And then Seiji just flopped back on the bed, hugged a fluffy pillow close to his chest, and turned his face away from me. Alright, so I think you know what time it is. It's time to end the video. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Room Number 9. In the next episode, when we come back, we will be servicing Seiji and extracting his fluids. How we'll do that, we'll find out next time. Yeah, so if you like the video, please give it a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. But if you are subscribed, hit the bell notification. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.